the charge to make the 2024 Broker Carrier Summit possible, and we are so excited to have their support. In case you haven't heard, TAFS offers much more than freight factoring. It provides a comprehensive support system for trucking companies of all sizes, specializing in fast and efficient invoice factoring with the ability to pay carriers in as little as 1 hour. And TAFS services go well beyond factoring, offering a fuel card that unlocks major fuel discounts, flexible business loans that are designed to cater to the distinct needs of a carrier's operations, a dedicated, responsive client experience team, and much more. Blackbox Logistics is a 3PL freight brokerage based out of Birmingham, Alabama. Blackbox Logistics was formed in 2020 by 3 friends, Logan Dyer, William Graves, and Will Hopkins, in a basement office with the goal of bringing transparency around the clock communication and hassle-free customer experience to the table. Multi-service fuel card, the industry's first fuel card, was created by an over-the-road truck driver in 1978 to offer a safe, simple, and cost-effective way to handle fuel and trucking expenses. Initially, it addressed safety concerns of carrying cash on the road. Today, it combats advanced fraud with best-in-class technical and personal support. Sales-CRM is built for freight broker and agent sales teams. Manage your shipper prospecting and follow-ups. Organize your carriers in the lanes they run. HD Ships is a leading logistics provider specializing in sustainable and tech-driven freight solutions. With hubs in Reno, Phoenix, and London, we deliver comprehensive services, including full truckload, expedited cross-border, and intermodal freight. Leveraging proprietary technology, we offer 24/7 tracking, real-time visibility, and advanced automation to ensure safe, compliant, and efficient transportation. Our commitment to sustainability enables clients to offset emissions through carbon credits, aligning logistics with environmental goals. At HD Ships, we prioritize transparency, reliability, and exceptional customer service, empowering clients to achieve seamless, sustainable logistics solutions worldwide.
Where are you at?
My bad. I got distracted reading an email and didn't realize that the countdown had stopped.
Well, that's what you get for not paying attention, man. I'm always watching the countdown.
Yeah, I know you are. I can see you backstage locked in.
Well, happy hump day. Happy Wednesday, man.
Yeah, man. It's my Friday. I'm going to be out of the office tomorrow and actual Friday. So, yeah, very happy hump day.
Where are you headed again?
Somewhere in South Florida for a wedding. Don't ask me what city. I just go where people tell me to go nowadays.
I think I might take Friday off and golf myself. I haven't decided, but
You got the bug again.
yeah. Well, shout out to our sponsors. What's up with our screen today?
What do you mean?
No, maybe it just looks different. But shout out to Black Box Logistics, Will's company.
Well, hold on. The People's Choice 3PL. Matt loves to brush by that like it's not a massive achievement. Black Box was recently named the People's Choice third-party logistics provider. So yeah, based out of
I flew
Birmingham.
to the moon yesterday too.
Yeah, great organization. So if you guys need help with anything, I'd go to their website. You can fill out some stuff, and it's a great shop.
HG Ships, where I recruit agents. You're looking to be an agent, I'd love to chat with you. Sales Dash CRM reminds me, we got to hit up Josh. We're supposed to go golfing sometime before he moves. But Josh's OG sponsor before we even launched our first episode. He wanted to sponsor the show. Ironically, Will didn't know him at the time, but Will's now whole brokerage as a customer. We have agents that are customers. Both Will and I have met Josh in person and Drew. Great companies, Freight Specific CRM. Definitely, give them a shout and tell them the Dawgs sent you.
Yeah. Then we got our banner sponsor, TAF's Top 10 Factoring Company. Great shop. If you're in the market for a new factor or you just want to learn more, I would highly encourage you to go to their website. Lots of just great educational content. Rob, Ryan, our contacts over there, very helpful. If you guys want to get in touch with somebody over there and you don't know where to start, feel free to shoot Matt or me a message. And if you happen to get in touch on your own, tell them that the Dawgs sent you.
Yeah, 100%. Well, today's guest should be fun. I mean, Krystina is the real deal. I mean, like I posted about, in terms of her success in the industry, her sales techniques, she posts a lot of great content about sales on LinkedIn too. I've known her for a couple of years now, and excited to chat with her.
Yeah, well, hopefully it goes better than the last time you had her on a podcast. From my understanding, just from what I've heard, your laptop died about halfway through on the previous show with Alex. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen today.
I don't remember that. That was like probably 2 years back. But yeah, my laptop's good. We're at 100%. It's plugged in. It can't be any worse than the episode when I was in Indiana that we had and a tornado blew out my power like a minute into the show.
No, man, that was a great episode. I took it in stride. We had the multi-service fuel CEO on. It was a fantastic episode. But yeah, you left me out to dry. You got 45 seconds in and you were just gone.
Yeah, I did figure out our technology when you were gone for a month, though. So I do, know how to run the show solo. So,
I mean, kind of. Doesn't matter. Anyway, guys, we're excited for the guest today. We're going to go ahead and bring her on stage. Krystina, thanks for joining us.
Hey guys.
Hey, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
I was going to say it's interesting. This is the second guest we've had in the last month. We're from Chattanooga too, or the Chattanooga general area. So.
Krystina is also a former Dog of the Week, and that's worth mentioning. So
yeah, and maybe future. Do you only have does the person get to be a Dog of the Week like once, or do you have multiple?
So the thing is about the Dog of the Week is that there are no rules. So potentially we could have a repeat Dog of the Week. We haven't had anybody be a repeat yet, but never say never.
Right.
We did implement a rule. I did no more animals.
I saw the duck. Yeah.
Yeah, the duck's great.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it was a great Dog of the Week. And then one week we had an actual dog was the Dog of the Week. Somebody's office dog, like 4-legged pet, not DAWG, with little headset. So yeah, we've had a lot of different Dogs of the Week, and yeah, potentially we could have a repeat. Haven't yet, but you could be the first.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Matt, how has your experience in Chattanooga been like? What's your favorite and then like least favorite thing about Chattanooga so far?
I mean, I like it. The weather's a little too hot for me. Is probably my least favorite in the afternoon. But people are nice, food decent, costs are lower, views are great. I'm loving it so far. You've been in Chattanooga your whole life, right? Or this area?
Yeah. Like I went to high school in Hickson, and then, I went to UTC. I got into UTK, but it just wasn't a good idea. So I stayed at UTC.
Good stuff. Well, kind of give us maybe a little bit of background for the viewers who don't know you, kind of about your logistics journey. I know you own your own company now and are building a book, but maybe kind of backtrack. You obviously have a lot of experience in the industry.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So I thought I was going to go into government. I worked part-time for the city. I was like a communication specialist while I was getting my degree. And then as soon as I graduated, I was like, I can't do this long-term. I just found it so boring. And so I pivoted to logistics. I got interviewed at a couple places. Coyote actually did not want to hire me, which is funny. Because I just know so many people that have worked there. But so I interviewed around, went to Steam, here in town. That building that's new downtown Chattanooga that you see, Matt, that's like new. I didn't work there, but they had an office right beside it. And it's like right across from Reliance. So I worked there, and then I wanted to go into domestic brokerage, but Steam at the time couldn't do domestic freight, and they did like international primarily. So they just not recently, but I would say like in the last 4 or 5 years started doing domestic. Then I went and interviewed, and I found a growing small freight brokerage, and I just kind of like fell in love and was like, this is wild. This is crazy. It's like the Wild West, and I was all about it. So I stuck around. I didn't know anything about logistics. I didn't have any sales skills. And they just told me to get on the phone, start generating revenue. And I just remember that being really hard. But I made it work. And then 2024, just a lot of things happened in between when I started there to the year that I left, or last year that I left. But I left and I started my own company, started my own brokerage. And I had to leave all my business behind due to non-solicit, which was kind of like a non-compete with the wording. But my lawyer kind of got out of the non-compete.
Cool.
It's a big step. I mean, betting on yourself, because you were in the W-2 space for what, 7-8 years before you opened your own brokerage?
And then a year with Steam. So I would say like 8.
So a couple of things that I want to say. I don't want to get too off track. So I've been to Chattanooga once to where you guys both live. And actually, when I got there, I parked across from the Steam building, and there was 2 homeless men going at it, like just full out brawl.
That happens.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, we sat there.
Sounds like something in Colombia.
I wouldn't call it cool, but yeah, it's a Chattanooga thing.
Well, yeah, they were going at it, and it was quite entertaining, and it went on for pretty long. But yeah, that building's very nice that they were in. Chattanooga's beautiful. Nice. I'm gonna try to get up there somewhat soon. Matt keeps talking about an HD Ship sponsored event, but I've yet to see any details. But I'd like to get up there for that.
Stay tuned. It is happening in October, but stay tuned.
Yeah, but so in Birmingham, which you guys are kind of south, would y'all say Chattanooga South?
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeast.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure. So Birmingham, a lot of people here in
What do you mean? Why would Chattanooga not be south? It's Tennessee.
I have no idea where we'll go sometimes on the show.
You do realize that Tennessee and Alabama are neighbors, right?
So anyway, what I was going to say is you guys will just let me be great real quick. You talked about freight being like the Wild West. So what we call it, I say we, a lot of people in Birmingham will call it like the redneck stock market.
Yeah, that's definitely accurate.
Yeah. But I didn't mean to get too far off track. That's a very cool story. So, and on top of everything, you kind of have a new venture going, right? So tell us a little bit about that with the sales training booklet or whatnot. Fill us in.
Well, it's not a booklet, it's a course, but that could develop into something else. But there's definitely a pain point right now with either new brokers or brokers trying to grow their book of business, and it's the lack of sales skills. I mean, you guys can tell me, like, what separates a new broker that comes in without any knowledge on freight, without any history or anything like that, from a broker who, so say 2 brokers come in, they have no knowledge, they start at 0, right? What separates the 2? One that's starting to generate revenue within the first couple of months, profits doing good, They're just continuously getting loads, and carriers are calling them, and every, you just see, you look at them and they look busy. And then you have, a broker that's maybe sitting at a desk next to them, and it's just completely different, no calls. They're on their phones, they're just slow, right? So what do you think separates the two?
I mean, I would say probably a lot of things. But I mean, like I would assume that
At core, right? I mean, they both start at zero. What separates the two at their core?
maybe like being proactive, wanting to like go get after it. If one's like on their phone, if you're talking about maybe like playing on their.
No, I would say that they're both ambitious. They both started at the same time. They're both hungry.
Okay, training is the answer you're looking for, I think.
I would say sales skills. Yes.
Okay, sales skills. But are you, so when you say sales skills, are you kind of talking about, do you believe that people are either, let me backtrack a little bit to where it's going to make sense. So some people say that, okay, you're either, a lot of good salesmen, they're just born with it, right? And then others say, no, it's something that you can like learn or whatnot. So when you say what separates these two people, are you saying that one is inherently better and more suited for sales, so they pick off and they get it, as opposed to the second one who's not a good fit? Or are you saying that like sales training early on is what got that individual A to producing all that good stuff?
I will definitely, its talent does not have any role in this. I would say, ambition is definitely a big part of it. And it may be that person that's generating revenue and doing better than the other, is ambitious to learn that skill of, okay, well, what happens when I do pick up the phone? What if they give me an objection? How can I combat that? What can I do differently versus the person who makes, like 50 calls and continues to do the same thing? So one is developing that skill, whether they know it or not. And you see that in the outcome. And then the other one is not so much. So I think it's just, just ambition and just having your mindset that you're trying to learn a skill, and then kind of reaping the benefits of that.
Yeah, no,
Does that make sense? I think maybe I could word it better.
I'm following you. Matt, I don't mean to interrupt you real quick. So from my understanding, what you're saying is, okay, so person A comes in and it's like, okay, if they're not doing good, they're learning from that and building on it so they're better positioned for tomorrow. It's like the small steps that we take each day, if we're framing it the right way, being productive, ambitious, saying, okay, like I'm learning, even if I don't get the result I want, it's still a win because I can use this knowledge into my next call and over that over time. Yeah. Matt, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It looked like you were about to ask a question.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I think both can be true too. I mean, a training aspect and, sales talent. I mean, you said there was not really a whole lot of training when you started building a domestic book. You just kind of figured it out on your own. And
there was no training at all. I mean, I sat with another broker for like 2 weeks and then they told me to get on the phone. So that was my training.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of training in the industry.
Yeah.
But how did you go about building that book back then? I know you said it was hard. I mean, how did you kind of learn some of the things, over the years of, building up that large book out of W-2?
I mean, that's part of the reason I kind of started the sales course, is because I figured out that I was just using the same strategies and like the systems that I used the first time, whether I knew it or not. And so I applied them again when I was left with no choice but to rebuild my book of business or leave the industry. So that's kind of where I pulled from.
Were there a couple skills that, really helped you back then that you're reusing now? Maybe there's some new brokers listening, or there's a couple important things.
So I call it intentional prospecting. So essentially, instead of going in and putting in like 100 prospects to reach out to, which I see a lot of new brokers doing, they will take like 2 weeks, or they'll take like hours out of their day and they'll start just putting in all of these prospects, like these enterprise shippers, like Coca-Colas and Volkswagens or whatnot. And then what I did, I would focus in on like 20 at a time, and I would focus in on hard. I would, do my follow-ups. I would do all of my research up front. And I know it sounds like a lot of work, but the results from that are just so much more beneficial than, like a spray and pray tactic. So I just did that. I didn't go in and call 1,000 shippers right when I started my brokerage. I could have done that, but I didn't. I focused in on 20. I focused in on my city. Then I went to the state and the Southeast, and then, kind of wrote down all the things I've succeeded with in the past, and just used the same strategies and systems that I used the first time.
How did you figure out to do that? As opposed to seeing a lot of people around you making 100, 200 calls, spray and pray. I mean, it's so common in the...
Because I did that the first time and it wasn't working. And I was like, that's kind of when I talked about the two people who start. So there's one that learns from their mistakes and there's one that doesn't. So the one that learns, and I was in that bucket, is I was like, this isn't working for you and it's not working for me. So you can keep doing you, but I'm going to go over here and do something different. So when I try these different tactics, and when I focused in on 15 to 20 shippers versus 100, and I was so intentional with it, I started producing more than the people that were that started at the same time as me. And all of a sudden I found myself on like the leaderboard, and then I was the first one. I would come up that we had like a little list of the brokers who like ran the most amount of volume and generated the most amount of profit for the last month or whatnot. And so I would find myself on that, and I just kind of stuck to that and perfected it. And yeah, hopefully, well, not hopefully, now I'm kind of liable to now I'm going to teach it.
It makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I think a big thing for any organization is, so let's say hypothetically, if somebody's onboarding brokers the way that you explained it, where you had been trained previously, like give them 2 weeks sitting next to somebody shadowing, and then they're, just off to the races, and they'll either get it or they don't, which would be kind of categorized like sink or swim almost. But if and when you find somebody who does swim, right? And then, okay, like it worked for this person, so whatever, it's like tribal knowledge for the individual, but how do we make that institutional knowledge to like document what works as opposed to this spray and pray and just kind of figure it out? I think when you consider ramp time for any hires or just brokers in general, like speed to profitability, it makes a lot of sense to kind of like, why are we going to repeat the same mistakes or do what we know doesn't work, and almost call it like just like a rite of passage to get to where you want to be. And then, yes, lead count. That's a huge thing, which I'll shit on Black Box for a second. For the first 2 years, our lead counts were way too high, and it was a lot of spray and pray. And I got some insight from somebody who had owned and sold a brokerage, and he kind of sat and I screen shared, and he just roasted me for like 20 minutes about it. And then we eventually cut it down to where it's much more, it aligns a lot more with what you're describing, Krystina, as opposed to because unfortunately I was trained the same way, where it's like, okay, basically like yellow books, just start calling. And then I left, and it worked for me. So like, I'll be very frank, like it worked for me. The spray and pray thing, like I picked up on it. I don't know, just get on the phone and it worked. So I was like, let's just keep doing that. But,
okay.
But did that in a very good freight market though, too.
Talk to me about what year that happened.
Exactly.
About
2018. 2018 wasn't that great.
2018 was a lot better than the last.
Yes, but it's not like it was a bull market like post COVID for 18 months to 2 years. I'm just saying, so like my stance on it is that yes, what you're describing is a much better way, and that's what we do now. But still, there are certain people that probably will get it just because maybe they are more attuned to sales. But I'm saying I completely agree and align with what you're saying, your strategy. All I'm getting at is that's how I was trained, and that's all I knew until somebody else showed me a different way. And then it made sense. So we need more people like you who are willing to share that knowledge.
I agree.
But I did spray and pray, but I got customers out of it.
Okay. Well, did you spray and call with calls or spray and pray just with calls, or like emails, or both, or LinkedIn, or
he just said he had the best rates. That's all he said to everybody.
Calls and emails. Matt, to be frank, like I was 18, 19 years old. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and nobody taught me. So it was like a bunch of price selling. I didn't know a better way. So like, looking back on it, talking about it now, and like where I'm at with Black Box and stuff, I can look back and be like, like I didn't know what I was doing, and it's embarrassing if I read some of my sales emails, but I didn't know any better. So that's what I did, and I know that I was so invested, I wanted to work so bad that I made it work. But if I would have gone about it a different way, it would have been much easier.
Yeah, easier, possibly more profitable. You never know. But I mean, each person kind of has to take their own journey in brokerage. So my gut instinct tells me that the freight environment we're in is rapidly changing. It's just becoming oversaturated, and not necessarily in a positive way. I also see it more fragmented in the future, kind of like what Matt is doing with HT Ships, where he's pulling people primarily from W-2s into these independent roles. And you encounter situations like I had with a non-solicitor non-compete. And if those same successful brokers had, maybe the first time they used a spray and pray, and now they're wanting to go independent, maybe if they had a bit more confidence in their sales ability, maybe a lot more people would jump into that independent world,
Yeah, and you do get better quality customers from that approach as opposed to the spray and pray, because the spray and pray really it's a price driven sales tactic. And you're not finding quality customers or really offering any value to justify like a more margin, right? So nothing's really expensive if value is there, right? So, but if all I'm doing is posting to truck stop and just like asking to like quote a load and then trying to beat somebody's rates, there's really no value. And honestly, the service is probably shitty. And that's no good for anybody. It's not good for the carrier. It's not good for the broker. It's just kind of I don't know. There's no customer retention there either, which is unfortunately what a lot of people do, kind of like a race to the bottom.
Yeah,
I always say that if it's easy to get a customer, it'll be easy to lose them. So that was my only point.
I'm gonna clip that.
That's what I was going to ask. So what made you that's a big bet on yourself. I mean, obviously what was your peak book of? I mean, you had a 6-figure GP book, or at least close to it, when you left your W-2, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or over 6 figures. Over 6 figures a month. That's what I thought. So that's a pretty big leap. I mean, obviously you have a non-solicit, so you're starting over from scratch. I mean, who knows what your W-2 paid, but you're walking away from 6 figures, if not multiple 6 figures in income, a 6-figure GP book, to go open your own brokerage and not a good freight market.
No, not
see that very often. So what kind of talk about that, and maybe the challenges, and kind of what made you kind of bet on yourself in that regard?
I think it's because I was primarily commission based at my W-2, and I wasn't looking for that salary. I don't want to say I planned for it, but at the same time, I knew that would happen eventually. That big jump would happen eventually. So I had started strategizing ahead of time. And I'll be frank with you, for whatever reason, I didn't even consider the agent route. I did probably 3-4 months in, and I was like, damn, this is hard. Maybe I should have done something else. But, and luckily it worked out, but whenever somebody asks me, I'll have a bunch of DMs on LinkedIn, and they'll be like, hey, I want to start my own brokerage. What did you do? How can I do this? And I'm like, let's talk about it, because I'm not sure if you want to do that right now. If you have a great book of business, make sure it's transferable, but also maybe look at the agent route first. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, I meant kind of too, in the sense of you obviously had some confidence in your sales ability to walk away from that amount of GP a month, that amount of income, and just start over from scratch and go back to rebuilding a book from the 2017, 2018 days, on top of, like you kind of just hinted at, some of the challenges of owning your own brokerage as opposed to an agent, of dealing with all the technology, the carrier pay, people wanting to work with you the first year, and doing all that chaos, on top of owning, on top of rebuilding a book.
Yeah, and I think I'm also a little bit crazy, because I am so entrepreneurial that I just had no doubt that I was going to somehow, some way, do or die. That was just kind of my mentality. But I would also say that I think I started my company at the right time, because had I started when the market was flipped and the carriers were in charge, there's no way I would have made it work. I really don't think so. Even if I had the business, the carriers have to be able to run it. And the trouble that I went through, even in that soft market, even with like, I mean, my lanes were like West Coast to the Southeast, flatbed, step deck, Conestoga, perfect. Everybody was trying to get out, of the West. So that perfect lane. And I still ran into so many issues with, like I remember Cargo Boss. I don't know if y'all use them or not.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just would not work with me. And I've worked with them for years. So yeah, just issues like that. It was definitely tough, but it just kind of made it work. I mean, I would pay carriers half up front. I took huge risks, but great risk, great reward. So it was worth it. Looking back on it, it was worth it, but would not suggest it. I mean, like the cards have to line up almost perfectly.
I like how you said uncanny ability, that it would work out. You just had that self-belief that no matter what, no matter how hard,
I'm crazy. I don't know.
You'll see that in a lot of founders.
I don't
So
know what else to tell you. I just, if I have my mindset on something, like, I don't know if it's because I'm impulsive, but I will just go and do it. When I first started the MC and I got into that lawsuit with my W-2, I was like, holy shit, I'm going to have to go and knock down doors to get business in this market that I'm in. And I did that, like got in my car, drove to like Cleveland and Dalton and Rome, Georgia, and just all over the place. But yeah, no, it's just part of it. You got to be a little unhinged to make something like that work.
yeah, no, and you had too. I mean, you had at the time you had a baby, a young baby too, or
Yep.
close enough. He was close to having. So I mean, was that a hard sell to your husband at the time too to do this? Like, hey, we're walking away from a stable income. We're having a kid. Now we're going to opening a business with no guaranteed income. I mean, it's hard enough doing what you did, but you did it, having a brand new, baby too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still part-time stay-at-home mom. Like, I'm a mommy first, But my husband is very supportive of all my ventures, all my crazy ideas. And this wasn't the first time we've been through something like this. Like, I actually tried to start a company even before I started at Steam. So I don't know. So, but yeah, no, he was just totally on board. And I always tell women who are like, well, how do you manage it all? And I'm like, you just have to be honest. You just have to sit down with your core group of people, your family, and say, this is what I want to do. I'm asking you to support me. I'm going to do it either way, but I would like for you to be on my side. And so those are the tough conversations that need to be had.
How was, to not to change the subject, but you mentioned you were driving around, like having to knock doors to get customers in this market, starting from scratch. I mean, how did some of those conversations go, or in person? Were you just showing up, or maybe that's a new way to sell them in this AI spray and pray market? What's real, what's not real? I mean, obviously face to face is real. I mean, maybe walk us through some of those scenarios.
I actually got really positive feedback from that. So I remember like I walked into, I just saw the sign shipping, receiving, go here. And so I drove in there and the lady comes out of the office. She's like, you can't be back here. You got to go around. So then I went around and then I came back in and she's like, what is it? And I was clearly, I'm trying to sell you something. I don't think she expected logistics for whatever reason, but yeah, it worked out. She got me connected. Steve Bob is not here, but here's his card, and I'll tell him you came by. Then Steve Bob would call me and say, hey, you came by. Why? I think that there's just a lot of noise in the industry when it comes to like AI right now, and just so many spammy emails and calls and all of that. So I think that when you take your time to which I don't think a lot of people do nowadays. You take your time to go and like introduce yourself in person or leave like a video message or a voice call or whatnot. I think that differentiates you from the noise a little bit. And so it worked.
I've never, so yeah, we don't do a whole bunch of outside sales, but I think that's a great way to differentiate yourself. I don't hear a lot of people doing that. Maybe going to see customers once they've been working together, like that's pretty common. But as far as like a cold walk-in, you don't hear a lot of people doing that really. Matt, what about your HD agents? Do they do a bunch of that, or?
Some of them do. I mean, it depends too. I mean, if some of them are coming in with customers, they do have a transferable book. I mean, they may not be going out, but we've had some agents who have started with just 1 or 2 customers made from scratch, and have some doing that. Probably, I mean, they're their own business owners, but we have had some do that. Probably more should be doing that, but that's their own business.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know, yeah, I think that's a great way. Now, I will have to say, you guys are both Southern people, and I noticed, Krystina, you said when you started the W-2, you mainly sold in the Southeast.
Yeah.
You guys have expanded. Do you notice that, like, personality wise, it's easier for you to sell in the Southeast?
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Have you tried to call a shipper in like New York?
Well, that's why I was asking the
I'll
question.
work with people up there.
No, I have had horrible experiences trying to sell to somebody like, well, maybe that's just because of that one situation, but yeah, she was not very nice to me. I have had so much luck with like Chattanooga, just Tennessee, West Tennessee, the Nashville area, Alabama, Georgia, the Northeast Georgia is a hot spot for me. Even South Carolina.
The Midwest?
I have 2 customers up there. I do have a lot of carriers up there. Like a carrier is picking up a load from me today. His name is Greg, and he's nice. He's got that 612 area code. I think that's Minnesota.
Yeah, 612 Minneapolis.
Yeah, I have more carriers in the Midwest than I do customers.
No, I actually I posted about that a long time ago. I mean, I think you have to have a different personality to sell. I couldn't sell. Got into phone sales at 19. I've always struggled selling to the Northeast, the Midwest, and the South. I think.
Well, maybe you just planted a seed. Maybe I'll start selling the Midwest and take over that. We'll see.
Midwest people are super friendly, for the most part.
Really?
Yeah, Midwest.
Hey, you never knew that? What?
Yeah, Midwest.
I just focus in on what I got. I don't try to extend myself. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably because, okay, like you're in the Southeast, so like near you. I mean, that's what you're around. You said that you grew up around here, so it's much easier to kind of like do that back and forth with people that probably have similar experiences, like live in the same spot, as opposed to if you call somebody like in New York, it's just different.
Yeah. They don't recognize that 423 area code. I'll call somebody in like Trenton, they're going to know what 423 area code is. So I think that helps too.
Yeah. And then, I mean, conversations in general.
Trenton, New Jersey too.
Yeah, there is.
Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when you said Cleveland, I knew you were talking about Cleveland, Tennessee, but probably.
Oh, you thought of Cleveland, Ohio?
Ohio. I was like, it's just people listening probably thinking you're going to Cleveland, Ohio.
No, Cleveland, Tennessee. No. Mm-mm. I have gone to Pennsylvania. I did one of my biggest customers from my old book of business, which literally count down the days that my non-solicit / non-compete or whatever it is done, because they're in Pennsylvania and I will walk there once my non-solicit, like not really, but you know what I mean? Like I am so excited to talk to them again. That's been so tough, not running their freight, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to forget these comments. Got a comment, Dawgs. And then we got one that's going back to how you're describing the rep A versus rep B. Sounds like she's saying the one who's intentional in their learning versus just sort of going through the motions and hoping for the best.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting. If you got anything else, feel free to throw it in the comments. Sorry, it took me a while to throw that one on the screen. Well, what's it like, Krystina? So it's just you with Booker? Do you have any help, any support? Are you operating cradle to grave operations and then also doing the billing? I mean, everything. Do you have help?
I have had help.
Okay.
There was a project that came up and it was very brief. And so I had a very close friend who left the previous brokerage that we were at like 6 months before I did. And then he went into finance or whatnot. But then we got reconnected after I left, and then I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And then, I kind of got busy and I hit him up and he came in and helped me run the project. I've also tried doing like the Upwork thing where somebody that is really good, like operationally, could help me, go through my accounting or whatnot and kind of clean up my books a little bit. But I didn't really have much success with that. So, and then there was another time I brought in a girl I knew, not from but the previous job that I was at. And she did a little bit of sales and was going to become an agent. And she ended up being an agent with Armstrong. So, and we're still friends, so it's fine. But yeah, just kind of here and there. I started growing so much that I came to a point and I was like, okay, I either need to step back, focus on what I have, and keep it small and try to figure out growth at some point, or I need to go ahead and open up an office and start hiring people and get investors in and figure out credit and all of that. Or not credit, but capital. Because with growth, you need money. So yeah, I was just two avenues and I was like, I'm going to step back. Still a stay-at-home mom, I still have a toddler. So that's just the avenue I took. And I'm happy that I did that, just kind of watching everything that's going on in our industry. I'm not really sure where it's going to go from here. There's been so many predictions and I don't trust any of them at this point. So yeah.
No, I think that's really cool. I mean, for a lot of founders, you hear them talk about it, it's like it's kind of, you have to learn so many different things. Yeah, I'll speak for myself. We got into business, we're looking around, something needs to be done. None of us know how to do it. Well, like, we're gonna have to figure it out. And just listening to you talk for the last 40 minutes, and it seems to be a little bit how you're wired. I would imagine that you enjoy that, the challenge of having to figure things out or like make it work, right? And then even the two avenues of like, okay, do I go this route, start hiring, onboarding, figure it all out, or do I kind of focus on what I do have? And I think that's a super important crossroads for a lot of people. And most people think that they want the office, like all this stuff, but then really like what comes with it, they might not want it. And it's similar to when people ask you about starting their own brokerage and you're like, I don't know if you actually want to do this, because everybody always sees the things on the outside and might romanticize it a bit, but actually like what is underneath that and what it takes is completely different. So I respect your decision with what you've done to kind of focus on what you do have, as opposed to kind of just like running with it. But I know I've touched on a lot of stuff. One woman show, you've got to plug some vendors. Surely you've got some great partners, some great tools that you're using. What would you recommend for any of our one person shops out there or whatnot? What do you like? What do you use?
So we'll start with my TMS. I love Quote Factory. It's grown with me. It's super easy to duplicate loads, like if you're doing projects. And they're still kind of a startup, so it's really fun, like working directly with them. And if there's something that I need done, they will literally go and like code it. It's really cool. And like, hey, we figured this out, 2 weeks later or something like that. And then I don't know if you use Melio, Melio. It has been a godsend for like accounting purposes. I mean, it organizes all of my invoices, like my carriers, and there's so many issues I had starting out where like factoring companies would like lose my payments, and these factoring companies are wild. They will like they will not send the correct information. They won't send all the documents, and then they'll lose your payments, and it just is a mess. So Melio definitely helps me with that. It's kind of resolved all of my accounting issues that I've had, because I was like, I do not like accounting. I do not want to do this. So yeah, I would say those two are definitely top.
That's what some people, I know you hinted at this earlier that you didn't know about the agent model, but that's why some people do not want to do their own MC, just for what you just mentioned, dealing with all the accounting nonsense.
Oh, yeah. I always, when somebody's like, hey, I am starting my own brokerage, I'm like, that's great. Do you know how to do sales? No, but can we talk about it? Yeah, we can, but like that's very important for you to know. Just because you don't have a cushion if you lose your top customer. You know, you're going to pour all this money into your business and starting your brokerage. You get the insurance and you start up, and 6 months go by and your shipper, you know, nowhere to be found, or they went with a lower rate, or these things happen, right? If you don't have any sort of sales skills and you've just been operational the last however long you've been in the industry, not a good thing. You have to be cross-functional to do something like that. So hopefully with my sales course, all the people that have been reaching out about starting their own brokerage, hopefully it helps.
Yeah. I mean, even when thinking about starting a business, that the skills needed to not only survive, but thrive, it's, I mean, some of them are the same, but a lot of it's different and new skills, right? So simply because somebody's a good operator in this model, does not mean that they're going to be successful at going on and taking all of that on. So like beyond if, do I want to deal with it? Like, can I deal with it successfully? And it's, again, I know Matt does a great job of this with like the agent thing. It's like you guys offer help to your agents through some support that you have, but a lot of people, like being on that island alone, it might not be a good idea for you. So I don't know. And just things to think about for anybody listening.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? For me, when it comes to taking the agent route, I mean, I'm open to anything. I also foresee myself opening up an office and you know, growing with my brokerage and everything. But yeah. Sorry, I got a customer.
If you ever do become an agent, don't go anywhere.
Hey, Krystina, if you got a customer calling you want to take it, like mute yourself, Matt, and I can talk about something real quick. Yeah, do that.
It was bad time. I was just about to say, if she ever becomes an agent, though, she's coming to HT.
I don't think she'll become an agent. She's got the her.
No, I don't think so either. But I'm saying if she did. But yeah, no, a lot of good bits today. I mean, Krystina obviously, you know, has a massive track record of success, and that's the fun part about bringing on people like that we know. You know, there's a lot of noise
right now. You see her; she's talking with her hands, getting real animated, doing all this stuff.
I was looking at you. I wasn't even seeing her in the background. She didn't even step away from the screen.
All right. Sorry, guys.
No, you didn't miss
anything. My customer called me and he was like, hey, looping you in with this warehouse manager, Oscar or whatever. And I was like, not right now. But he was like that. He's so cool, though. It's totally fine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Super great guy.
We're kind of getting
this much. I just said if you ever change your mind and become an agent, you're coming to HT.
I might. I really don't know. Like, I'm at this crossroads, and now that I kind of announced my sales course, and don't ask me anything about it because I'm trying to figure it out. And all these people kind of signed up for it and like had subscribed, and I was not expecting it. And then people started sending me messages, and I was like, well, shit, now I got to really like put everything into it. And I'm going to, because like I'm the type of person that I can't, if I'm passionate about something, like I can't do a half-ass. I got to go all in. So yeah, I'm going to pour everything into this. So I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll definitely keep us posted with updates on anybody listening. Make sure you give Krystina a follow and stay posted for the sales content. We enjoyed watching you in action, talking with your hands. Looks like you're
that's all I do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're getting towards the end of the hour here. Before we wrap up, is there anything either of you guys want to bring up, talk about? Any questions?
I think that's all I had. Definitely check out Krystina's posts. I mean, you had a great post this morning.
I actually deleted that one. I'm not sure why. All my posts are like book long, so I don't know. I was like, nobody's gonna read this. I just deleted it. But I normally don't do that. You read it? Oh,
yeah, I liked it. You're trying to get the.
I was gonna bring it up on the show. I'm glad I didn't bring it up because now it's deleted. If anyone wants to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, give Krystina a follow. It's great content, and she's got an exciting sales program coming out. So stay tuned. Krystina, we appreciate you making time for us. We know that you're busy. You've got a lot going on. We can see you talking with your hands and whatnot. So thanks for making the time to come join the Two Dogs pod today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, guys. Or y'all. I would say y'all, but
why?
to say you guys.
Y''ALL, y'all.
No, just W. Oh, definitely there's no W. YALL, no apostrophe.
All right, Krystina, thanks. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks again, Krystina. That was good. Krystina's, like we've said a couple times, is just a straight killer in this industry. But yeah, it was a fun episode. Shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Logistics, HD Ships, Sales-CRM, the OG sponsor, Freight Specific CRM, hit up Josh or Drew, and TAF's Top 10 Factoring Company. Ryan, Rob, great people, great customer service, great rates. And I'm sure Will and I will be back next week.
Matt, we really need to get something figured out with you and Black Box and the.
Oh, if anyone's watched the show more than once, they know that you're going to say it's the people's choice. So,
All right, have a good day.